the participants for the day 22nd for the course cyber security. Let's start our today's session. Okay, let me share my presentation. So screen is visible. Kavya? Okay, let me start today's session. Okay, good evening students. Let's start today's session. The topic that we are going to see is user datagram protocol. Okay, that is UDP. Okay, user datagram protocol. And the objective of the session is to make you known about the concepts behind the user datagram protocol. Okay, and the outcome of this session, the students may be able to explain how the process to process communication is going on, and to know the format of a UDP user datagram, and be able to calculate the UDP checksum, okay, and to understand the operations or the functions of the user datagram protocol, and the students may be able to know when it is the appropriate time to use the user datagram protocol, and the last one is to understand the modules in the user datagram protocol package. Okay, these are the outcomes of the today's session. Okay, so the agenda or outline for this today's session that we are going to see is, first we'll be seeing the introduction to user datagram protocol, and why would anyone use this UDP protocol, and what are the characteristics of UDP, and what are the services provided by UDP, and what is the function of UDP, and we'll be seeing the how the process to process communication is going on, and we'll be seeing what is process to process communication with that of the host to host communication, and what are the well-known ports used by the user datagram protocol, and we'll be seeing the format of the user datagram, then how the checksum is calculated in UDP protocol, and what are the operations involved in UDP protocol, and we'll be seeing the package of UDP protocol, how it functions. Okay, and we'll be seeing the difference between TCP and UDP, and what are the popular applications that use the UDP protocol, and we'll be seeing what are the advantages and disadvantages of UDP, and we'll come to the summary of the whole session. Okay, so UDP is connectionless protocol. Okay, that is it is not connection oriented protocol, whereas TCP is connection oriented protocol. So no need to establish the connection before the data transmission. Okay. As TCP we have seen in the last session, in order to transmit the data, there should be a connection establishment procedure should be followed with the help of the three-way handshake mechanism. Okay, but this is not the case in user datagram protocol. Okay, and UDP is mostly suitable for the applications where and all we are need to have a fast transmission of data and efficient transmission. We can go for applying the using the UDP protocol. Okay, and this UDP protocol is used in video conferencing, streamlining, streaming, live streams, data transfer, then voice call. Okay, for these applications we can go for using the UDP protocols. Okay, so here we'll come on to the introduction part of the UDP. So where we can find this UDP protocol is that at the layer 4 Layer 4 is transport layer. Okay. So this UDP protocol runs over the IP protocol, that is internet protocol. So internet protocol will be at the network layer. So above the network layer, there will be a transport layer. In that transport layer, we'll be using the user datagram protocol. So we call this UDP as an unreliable transmission protocol. Okay? So unreliable in the sense there won't be any confirmation of the data delivery of packets. Okay? So the case is that UDP segments. So whatever the data that is sent from client to server, it can be lost or it can be missed during the transmission. So the sender won't be getting any acknowledgement from the server about the lost packet. Okay, so it's called as an unreliable transmission. Okay, and it also, the UDP segments will also be delivered out of order. Okay, so the order may be changed at the destination, so that all will not be notified by the sender. Okay, so for these purpose, we are saying that UDP is an unreliable transmission protocol. Okay. Okay, so we call UDP as also a connectionless protocol, since there was no handshaking mechanism is carried out between the sender and the receiver. Okay, and each UDP segment will be handled independent of the others. So here you can see IP packet, that is UDP is placed. So UDP is placed above the internet protocol. Okay, and it also provides a lossy connection. So lossy in the sense, in between the, so consider this is your client machine and this is your server machine. So in between the transmission, the IP pack, that is the UDP packet may loss. Okay, so it the UDP, the use of UDP protocol may not guarantee that the proper delivery of the data at the destination point. Okay, so we are calling UDP as a connectionless protocol and unreliable transmission protocol. Okay, so we are calling that UDP as a lightweight protocol also. So here you can see clearly, this is your client mission and this is your server mission. So the client will be always used to going on sending the packets. Okay, and the server will be receiving, but it won't acknowledge to the client. Okay, so the server will be saying who cares for the proper delivery of the delivery of the packets. So it will be accepting the packets and it won't acknowledge, but it will be asking for the sender to send the packets in a faster manner. Okay, so wherever the faster transmission of data is accomplished, we can go for using the user datagram protocol. So why should anyone use the UDP protocol? So why we are calling that UDP is a lightweight protocol? The thing is that there is no delay for connection establishment. So we are going to not care for the connection establishment. Okay, so we won't have any delay for the connection establishment. Okay, so just it avoids any unnecessary delays also, and just it will blast away without any formal preliminaries also, and no connection state. Okay, no connection state, that is there will be no ways for allocation of buffers, parameters and the sequence number. So there is no such process is carried out. Okay, it is making easier to handle the many clients at once. So we are calling that no connection state is provided here. And compared to the TCP header, UDP header is only, it carries 8 bytes long. Whereas in the last class we have seen TCP header format, it occupies 20 to 60 bytes of header. Header size ranges from 20 to 60 bytes. That is, the range is variable. Okay, whereas the UDP header is only fixed bytes. That is, it occupies, or it has only 8 bytes. So the packet size is very small when compared to the TCP header. Okay, so for these reasons, no delay for connection establishment, no connection state, and no packet. There is the packet size of the packet is very small. Packet header size is very small. So we are getting UDP is getting very low overhead. So for these reason, we call UDP as a lightweight protocol. Okay. Okay. So here you can see the where you can locate the UDP in a TCP/IP protocol shoot is that UDP is located or used at the transport layer, that is layer 4 of the TCP/IP model. Okay, that is it is lies between the application layer and the network layer. Okay. So now let's see what are the characteristics of UDP. Okay, so no connection establishment. So the data will be sent directly to the server without any connection establishment. Okay. Next, no flow control is provided, no congestion control. Okay, so the sender can go on can overrun the receiver's buffer. The thing is that the client can go on sending the packets to the server, and the server's buffer may get overflows. Okay, so it doesn't bother about all such things happens at the destination point. Okay, so the UDP is not suited for bulk data transfer. Okay, so the UDP can be used for a small or simple applications only, and wherever necessary to have a bulk data transfer, it's not suited. And for the data transfer with the UDP, a lockstep protocol is required. This protocol should be implemented by the applications. So no error control is also provided. So no flow control, no congestion control, no error control. And the thing is that the corrupted, whenever data is corrupted during the transmission, it cannot be retransmitted, as in the case of TCP. Okay, so retransmission of data is possible in case of using the TCP, but it's not the case in UDP. Okay, so even the UDP header has a checksum. To detect checksum, usually it's reserving for usually meant for error checking, so or for the error detection purpose. But even though it the UDP header has contains checksum, it doesn't report to the application. So here you can see, so host 1 and host 2. Okay, so consider this is the host 1 is sending some sends 5 packets, okay, to the host 2. So consider host 2 is going to maintain some queues. So whatever the packets coming from the host 1, it will be residing, or it will be entering the queues in the host 2. Okay, so see that first picture, packet 1 is stored in the receiver's queue, and second packet comes from the host 1 and it reaches the host 2. So packet 2 is also stored in the receiver's queue, and packet 3 is also stored in the receiver's queue. When the packet 4 arrives at the host 2, so assume that the buffer or the queue is receiver's queues is overflows. There is no space to occupy the packet 4 coming from the host 1. So the packet 4 is dropped because of the buffer overrun happens. Overrun in the sense the size of the buffer becomes maximum. So it could not accommodate the 4th packet in the host 2. So the packet is dropped. Okay. So again, and this packet 1 is sent to the application. So the thing is, as a result, packet 4 is missing here. So the packet loss needs to be handled by the application. So, but there won't be any retransmission at the destination side. Okay. So the application has to detect that packet 4 is missing, and there is a need to retransmit. So this can be done by the host 2 can go for making the packet 4 missing to the IP, that is ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol. So the ICMP will report to the sender. Okay. So far we have seen the characteristics of UDP, and now we are going to see the service provided by the UDP. Okay. So basically UDP is an extension of the IP datagram service, and it also performs the multiplexing functionality on the port number to the IP datagram service. Okay. So here you can see this is the first higher layer is application layer, and the next layer is transport layer, where the UDP is here. So these are the packets coming from the application layer: 300, 2500, and 500 and 150. So the application layer sends the packet over the socket interface. So this is called the socket interface. Through this, it reaches the UDP layer. So UDP layer, in the sense, it's a transport layer. Okay. So this transport layer will be handled by the UDP protocol, and the same packets will be sent to the next IP layer, that is network layer. Okay. See that the IP layer will passes these packets to the receiving side. Okay. So the 2500 packet is so long, so that the IP layer will fragments that UDP datagram. So 2500 bytes packet is too big, so the IP layer fragments as 1000 byte and 1005. So 2500 is divided into 2 packets and it's sent to the receiver. Okay. And at the receiving side, it will be handled by the network layer, then the above layer, transport layer, then it will pass on to the receiver. So the application read the packets from the socket interface. Okay, this is what happens. That is coming from the client to the server. Okay. So what is the main function of UDP? In the sense, it performs the multiplexing and multiplexing. So UDP will be supporting for multiple applications in the same end system, such as DNS. It will be useful for DNS, that is domain name system. For that, UDP will be used, and for the management of transmissions, it can be used. Okay. And for the distributed file support, UDP will be used. Okay. So mainly UDP is intended for the simple applications. Okay. So coming on to the deep into the user datagram protocol, it is a connectionless, unreliable transport layer protocol, and it does not add anything to the services of IP, but except to provide process-to-process communication instead of host-to-host communication. The thing is that an important point to be noted here is that UDP will provide process-to-process communication rather than the host-to-host communication. So before that, you have to understand what is meant by a process-to-process communication and what is meant by host-to-host communication. Okay. And what is the difference between these two communication? Okay. The thing is that we are going to clearly see these two communication and the need of the port numbers and the socket addresses. Okay. So here you can see UDP and IP protocol. So UDP protocol is acting at the transport layer, and IP protocol will be acting at the network layer. So here processes is here. What I mean by process is that, So whatever the application program that runs or executed by the operating system, that is going to be called as a process. So here you'll be having the client process, and at the destination you'll be having the server processes. Okay, so the UDP protocol will be going to have or it provides a client process to the server process. There will be communication between the client process to the server process. So that will be provided by the UDP protocol. Whereas the IP protocol will be between the host mission. So this is the client host mission and this is the server host mission. So there will be communication between these two missions or these two host missions. So that will be provided by the IP protocol. So UDP will be providing the process to process communication and IP protocol will be providing the host to host mission protocol. Okay. The next comes the need for port numbers. Okay. So consider the UDP at the client side, daytime client, that is daytime client means it's referring the date and time of the client mission. Okay, and at the server side it can also use the daytime server means it referring the date and time of the server mission. Okay, so here the UDP is going to handle this port number. Client's port number is 52,000 and the server port number is 13. Okay, so the client is going to send the datagram packet to the server. So what will be the message? So it consists of the source port number and the destination port number and the data to be transmitted. So all these will be residing in the packet, or we call this as a use datagram. Okay, so what is the source port number? So this is the client, this is the source mission. So the source port number is 52,000, so that is mentioned here, and 13 is the destination port number, that is service port number is mentioned here, and the data is mentioned. So it will be received by the server and in turn it will send the packet to the client. So here 13 is the source and 52,000 port number is the destination and data will be sent. Okay, so at the transport layer the UDP will be using the port numbers. So port numbers of the source port number, which identifies the port number of the source mission, and destination port numbers which identifies the destination mission. Okay, so here you can clearly make a difference between IP address and the port numbers. Okay, so this port number, so these are the processes running on the client mission. Okay, and always the port number will select the process. Whatever the process running on the client mission, the port number will select the processes, whereas each and every host mission will be having the IP address. Okay, so this IP address will select the host mission. So port number is used to point out the process and IP address is to point out the or refers the host mission. Okay, okay. So the well-known port numbers are less than 1024. That means the port numbers are ranging from 0 to 1023. Okay, so here is some of the list of well-known ports that will be used with the UDP protocols. Okay, you can see this daytime protocol will be using the port number 13. Just now we have seen 13 port number. Okay, for the daytime client and the server, they will be using the port number 13. Excuse me. Ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Class எடுத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன் மேம். இன் பிட்வீன்ல தான் மேம் பேசுறேன். சாரி மேம்.
இல்ல
சொல்லுங்க மேம்.
பிரின்சிபல் நாளைக்கு 10:30 மணிக்கு வர சொன்னாங்கம்மா. அது ஃபைல் ரெடி பண்ணனும் சொன்னாங்க.
சரிங்க மேம், சரிங்க மேம்.
அதுக்கு தான் அது வந்து நம்ம ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒரு போட்டுறலாமா, ஒரு 3 lakhs இருக்குல்ல.
ஆமா மேம்.
அந்த அப்ளிகேஷன் டெவலப்மென்ட் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் போட்டுறலாம்.
சரிங்க மேம். அத போட்டுறலாம்.
அது வந்து நம்ம அந்த ரெக்வெஸ்ட் லெட்டர்லயே நம்ம கொடுத்துறோம். பாத்தீங்கன்னா அப்ளிகேஷன் டெவலப்மென்ட்
ஆமா மேம், ஆமா மேம்.
மெயின்டெனன்ஸ் 3 lakhs கொடுத்துறோம்.
சரிங்க மேம். அத வந்து ஃபிட் இன் பண்ணிக்கலாம். சரிங்க மேம். சரிங்க மேம்.
அப்புறம் இன்னொரு ஃபைல் வந்து கிளவுட் சர்வர் அது மாதிரி இருக்குது. இன்னொரு 2 lakhs இருக்கு.
சரி மேம்.
அத இன்னொரு ஃபைலோட மேட்ச் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
சரி மேம். ஓகே மேம்.
சரியா?
சரி. என் கையில தான் மேம் இருக்கு. சரிங்க மேம். சரிங்க மேம். ஓகே மேம். ஓகே மேம். கிளாஸ் கண்டினியூ பண்ணுங்க. ஓகே மேம். Thank you மேம்.
ஓகே.
So let me continue the session because I was in a call. Sorry. Excuse me. Let me share and continue the presentation. So tell me whether the screen is visible.
No, ma'am, not visible, ma'am. Oh, now visible, ma'am.
Is it visible?
Visible, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so these are the well-known codes used with the UDP. Okay. Okay. So coming to the example, so in the Unix operating system, the well-known codes are stored in a file called. So we'll be using like the /etc/services. Okay. So each line in this file will gives the names of the server and the well-known port numbers. So with the use of this line, it will give the. So suppose if you are giving using this etc services, it will give the port numbers. Okay. So well-known port numbers. Just now we have seen what are the well-known port numbers used. Okay. So for that purpose, we can use the command that is grep command. Grep utility will be saying like grep utility to extract the line corresponding to the desired location. So okay. So we'll be seeing we'll be giving the command like grep followed by tftp. So what is tftp means? Trivial file transfer protocol. Okay, so it's also like file transfer. Whatever the files to be transmitted, will use this protocol. Okay, followed by that /etc/services. So upon giving this, it will fetch the port numbers. Okay. Okay. So here you can see clearly that is TFTP, that is trivial file transfer protocol. So what is the port number used here? 69. Okay. Okay. So upon giving this grep command, grep followed by tftp. So what is the port number? Well-known port number for tftp is that 69. For TCP 69 and for UDP also the same 69 port is used. Okay. So SNMP, that is Simple Network Management Protocol. So SNMP, you can see from this tabulation, that SNMP is Simple Network Management Protocol. It uses the well-known port number 161. Okay, and also 162. So these two. So this 160 is used for trapping purpose. So these two, 161 and 162, is used for the protocol SNMP. Okay. Now see, upon giving the grep command, grep followed by SNMP /etc/services, it will list out some the port numbers used for the SNMP. Okay, so what is the port number? That is 161 for TCP and the same 161 for UDP, and 162 UDP is used for traps for the SNMP. Okay, so it will list out what are all the well-known ports used for the simple network management protocol that will be displayed with the help of the grep command. Okay, so this is grep command is will be used in Unix operating system. Okay. Okay. Now coming on to the socket address. So already we have seen in the earlier classes, socket address means it's a combination of the IP address as well as the port number. Okay. So the IP address may be like this 200.23.56.8 and port number may be any one of the port numbers that we have seen listed in the tabulation. Okay, and 69 is the port number. So these two combination we call that as a socket address. Okay. Now coming on to the packets, UDP packets are called as user datagrams, whereas TCP packets are called as segments. Okay, so this user datagram is going to have a fixed sized header consisting of only 8 bytes. Okay, so here you can see the format of user datagram. That is, it will be consisting of header as well as the data. So this is the format of the user datagram for and this header alone consists only 8 bytes. Okay, so this 8 bytes going to be having 4 fields. The first one is source port number consisting of 16 bits and destination port number consisting of 16 bits and total length consisting of 16 bits and checksum 16 bits. Okay, so this was the format of user datagram. The source port number is the port number to identify the source machine, and the destination port number will used to identify the port number of the destination. Okay, and total length, so it will be representing the total length of the UDP packet, that is both as well as header and the data. So header and the data, that total length will be represented in this field. Okay, so checksum is all about 16 bits. So checksum is a technique for detecting the errors. Okay, so usually when compared to the TCM, checksum plays a main role there in finding out the errors. Okay, so error control is provided in TCP, whereas checksum is optional in UDP. Okay. So how will you calculate the UDP length? Means it is calculated from the IP length subtracted minus, that is IP headers length. So from this you can calculate the UDP length. Okay. So coming on to the checksum calculation, UDP checksum calculation is different from the one for IP protocol and ICMP protocol. So here the checksum includes 3 sections. So one is the pseudo header, UDP header, and the data coming from the upper layer. So UDP is going to act on the transport layer. The upper layer is application layer. So whatever the data comes from the application layer, that is going to be there, data plus UDP header plus pseudo header. So from these 3 sections, UDP checksum is going to be calculated. Okay. So we'll be seeing the checksum calculation at the sender and checksum calculation at the receiver, and it's an optional, as I told, the checksum is optional in UDP. Okay. So here you can see UDP header. Just now we have seen what are the fields involved in UDP header. And what about this pseudo header? So pseudo header will be consisting of IP source address, IP destination address, and all zeros are here, and all the protocols bits, 17 bits are represented here, and UDP length. So all these constitute the pseudo header. So for the checksum purpose, you have to go for calculating the pseudo header plus UDP header plus the data. Okay, so here you can see the checksum is calculated over the pseudo header, UDP header, and data. So data means there is a UDP payload. Okay. So even though the header UDP header is consisting of checksum field, but it is an optional one. That too, it provides a minimal protection against the transmission errors. So it won't guarantee that no error can occur. It won't guarantee that. If the error occurs, there won't any detection also. So no error control is achieved in UDP. Okay, make a note of it. If it is not used, if the checksum is not used, it shall be set to 0. So always the UDP is going to be run on the top of the IP protocol. So here you can see clearly the pseudo header for the checksum calculation. So 32-bit source IP address and 32-bit destination IP address, and all zeros will be there, and a 8-bit protocol, that is 17 bits 8-bit protocol will be represented here, and 16-bit UDP total length is here. And as we have seen, what are the fields involved in header part, and after that you will be having the data part, and padding. Padding means adding any zeros to the can be added onto this data field. Okay. So for the checksum calculation, we have to go for data plus header plus pseudo header. Okay. So here you can see in the slide how the checksum is calculated in a simple UDP user diagram. Okay. So here just now we have seen the format of user datagram. So here all the data are filled in this datagram. Okay. So first is 153.18.8.105 is it is representing the what we call 32-bit IP address. And the next is destination IP address. Okay. So first one is source IP address, and the second one is 32-bit destination IP address. Okay. So here you can see the first line is representing the so actually the IP address is represented by 4 octets. Okay. So the first 2 bytes are taken, and it is represented in zeros and ones. Okay. So 153 is represented 1001 1001, and 18 is represented 000 1010. Okay. Likewise, all the 4 octets are represented as 2 bytes. 2 bytes in the sense first 2 is taken and represented in zeros and ones, and second 2 bytes 8 and 105. So 8 is represented as 1000 here, and 105 is represented zeros and 1. So likewise 172.2 is taken and 14.10 is taken in the next following bits. Okay. And the next thing 0 is taken and 17 is taken, 15 is represented. Likewise all the things are represented zeros and ones. Okay. Okay. So here the blue representing the data part, and this all zeros are representing the padding of all zeros. Okay. Okay. So thus you have mentioned all these zeros and ones, and you are going to calculate the sum of all these. And how will you calculate the checksum? Means the ones complement of this sum, you're going to get the checksum. So in this way, you have to calculate the checksum for a particular UDP user datagram. Okay. So coming on to the operations performed by the UDP protocol. So they are connectionless service will be provided by UDP, flow control, error control, encapsulation and decapsulation, queuing, multiplexing and demultiplexing. So these are the operations or tasks should be performed by the UDP protocol. Okay. Let's see how the encapsulation and decapsulation carried out with the help of the UDP. Okay. So as we see earlier, so both encapsulation and decapsulation are all related with the data. So how the data is sent and received through the network. So according to the network models. Okay. So as we see, process means it is a running application program that is called as a process. So assume that this is a client process and this is the server process. So message. So where we can see the message. So message will be at the application layer. So it flows from application layer to the next lower layer is transport layer. So at the transport layer, suppose if you are going to use the UDP protocol. So the message will be like this, UDP data, and the header will be added onto the UDP data. So it will pass on to the next lower layer, that is network layer. So at the network layer, IP protocol is going to be used. So IP data along with the IP header will be there. And next data link layer, the data format will be frame header will be added onto the frame data. So this what the encapsulation. So encapsulation means when the data is moving from the upper layer to the lower layer, and each layer will be including the bundle of information that is called as a header that will be added onto the actual data. Okay. So encapsulation is defined as a process of packing the data in each layer that is called as encapsulation. When coming on to the server process, so decapsulation is going to happen. So what is in the decapsulation is that it flows from lower layer to upper layer. Okay. So the data will be moving from lower layer to the upper layers. So each layer, what they will do means they will unpack the corresponding headers to obtain the actual data. So whatever the header is attached, so when it reaches at the receiving side, when the frame data is reaching the data link layer of the receiver side, it will go on unpacking the following headers so that it will be obtaining the actual data. So this process of unpacking the data in each layer is going to be called as decapsulation. Okay. So always the encapsulation will be done at the sender process, and that is source computer, and decapsulation will be done at the destination computer. Okay. So encapsulation means packing of data in each layer is called as encapsulation, and decapsulation means unpacking of data in each layer is called as decapsulation. So encapsulation is going to be the data will be moving from upper layer to the lower layer, and decapsulation it will be moving from lower layer to upper layer. Okay. So coming on to the queues, how the queues will be functioning in the user datagram protocol is that, so consider this is a datetime client and this is the datetime server. Okay. So at each client process, it is going to maintain some set of queues. Okay. So how many processes are handled at the client machine? For each and every process, there is going to be some set of queues will be maintained. Okay. So the queues is going to be two types. One is the incoming queue, the other one is the outgoing queue. Okay. So through the outgoing queue, the packets will be sent to the server, and the incoming queue will be receiving whatever the packets sent from the server. So outgoing queue is used for sending the packets from client to server, and the incoming queue will receive the packets sent from the server to the client. Okay. So always the client side will be using a random port number. Okay. At the server side, the port number always they'll be using the port 13. Okay. So the situation, whenever the queue overflows, so in case consider that let us consider this incoming queue. Okay, so this is coming from the it receives the packets from the server. Okay, so consider the packet incoming queue is it attains the maximum size. So that it could not accommodate or receive the packets coming from the server. If this is the case, then it will make a notification to the ICMP. ICMP means Internet Control Message Protocol. That the incoming queue is filled, so that it has to offer or it should be the data packets won't be received after that moment. Okay, so it will be notifying through the ICMP protocol. Okay. So coming on to the next operation, that is multiplexing and demultiplexing. So the client process will be doing the multiplexing task, and the demultiplexing will be done at the server process. Okay. As we see in the encapsulation and decapsulation, the same process. So UDP multiplexing will be done at the client machine, and UDP demultiplexing will be done at the server machine. Okay. So coming on to the next UDP package, that is, so how to show how the UDP handles the sending of UDP packets and receiving of the UDP packets. We are going to present a simple version of the UDP package. Okay, so how it works. So UDP package involves 5 components, so that are listed here. So what are the 5 components is that the first one is control block table, and the second one input queues, and third one control block module, and fourth one input module, and the last one is output module. So these are the 5 components which comprises the UDP package. So here you can see the UDP, how the UDP works here. Okay, so as already told, I have told that, so for each and every process at the client and the at the server side, so there will be a set of queues to be maintained. For one process, 1 queue will be maintained. For the second process, 2. So suppose if the 5 processes are running at the client side, means 5 queues will be maintained at this input module. Okay. So here you can see this dotted lines. So that is representing the UDP block, or we can say UDP package. Okay. So always the client will be generating the process that needs the services, while the server will be generating the process that provides the services. So whenever the request or the need arises, the client will be generating the process according to the request received from the users. And the server will be providing the services to the client. Okay. So this is what the process at client and the server. Okay. Now we'll see how it works. The queues are open for both the server and the client. Okay. So already we have seen two types of queues will be maintained at the client side and the server side. So what is the types of queues? Incoming queue and outgoing queue. So incoming queue will be receiving the packets from the server, and outgoing queue will be sending the packets from client to the server. So make that in mind. Okay. So two queues are used for each process. Okay. So the queue function as long as the process is running. Okay. So if the process is completed or terminated, the queue is going to be destroyed. So once the process starts running, the queue will be activated. If the process completes, the queue will be destroyed. Okay. So UDP handles the sending and receiving of the packets with the help of the following modules. So what are the modules? 5 modules. That is input queue. This is the input queue. So first module is input queue. Second, input module and control block module, control block table, and the last one is output module. So these 5 modules perform some task for the UDP package. So what does this input module will do means it receives the user datagram from the IP. So IP means the lower layer is IP. So from the IP layer, the input module will receive the user datagram. Okay. And it searches so after receiving the user datagram from the IP layer, it searches for the control block table. Okay. So what this table entry will be there means it will be having some port numbers. Okay. So the input module will be searching for the control block table, find an entry having the same port as that of the user datagram. So if the port number matches, then the module uses that particular information in the entry to enqueue the data. So what does this control block table will do means it will keep track of the open ports. What all the ports are used, that will be entered in this control block table. Okay. So this control block module will manage this control block table. So the UDP packets uses this set of queues, input queues for each process. Okay, and the output modules will create the user datagram and send the user datagram. Okay, so it will do the functionality of creating the user datagram and send the user datagram. Okay. So several processes may use the service of this UDP, and also it will UDP will go for multiplexing and demultiplexing. Why we are doing this multiplexing and demultiplexing is that to handle so many number of multiple processes that can be run on a single host. For example, in a particular host mission, if you want to run so many number of programs or application programs, in order to execute, so for example, if you're going to run 5 applications, so that is 5 processes going to be handled. Then UDP is going to use the multiplexing concept to handle all those all those 5 application programs. Okay. So to handle the multiple processes that can run on a single host, UDP will be doing the multiplexing and demultiplexing process. So always multiplexing will be done at the source machine and demultiplexing will be done at the destination machine. So coming on to the multiplexing and demultiplexing, this TCP will be using 4 identifiers for multiplexing purpose. Okay. The source IP address, source port number, destination IP address, and destination port numbers. So from these identifiers, the TCP will go for doing the multiplexing process, whereas the UDP will use only 2 identifiers. That is, one is the destination IP address and the destination port number. Okay, fine. It's going to wind up. Can anyone say the screen is visible?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share. It's going to wind up. I'm going to wind the session. Okay. Let me share again. Only 2 or 3 slides more. Okay. Is it visible now? Is it visible? Okay. Let me continue. Okay, fine. Okay, so UDP is going to use only 2 identifiers for multiplexing purpose. Destination IP and destination port number will be the 2 identifiers used by the UDP for multiplexing purpose, whereas TCP will be using 4 identifiers for multiplexing purpose. Okay. So here you can see how does the control block table. So what are the entries in the control block tables are maintained like this. State will be there, process ID and port number and the queue number. Okay. So we can, and the state means what are the port numbers that are in use and what are the free port numbers it will be mentioned. Okay. So free means there won't be any entry. Okay, so have this control block table in mind. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so here you can say that the arrival of the user datagram with the destination port number 52012. So the destination port number is given here. Okay, so one user, that is, assume that user datagram is arrived through the destination port number 52012. Okay. So now once it is arrived, what does this input model? So already I have explained what the working of the UDP package. Okay. So this input model will searches this port number in the control block table. Okay. So if it finds, if the destination port number in the user datagram matches with the entry in the control block table, then so see here, the queue number T8 has been assigned to this port. You can see clearly in this picture. So I have told that the port number 52000, this is the port number, and what is the queue number assigned for this is 38. So whenever this destination port number is arriving at the input module, the input module will check for the control block table. So what is the queue number assigned to this port number? If it matches in the control block table, then so which means that the port number has previously used. The input module sends the data to the queue 38 and the control block table does not change. So 30 is already used. So it finds the match in the control block table. Okay. So after few seconds, the process goes on starting. Okay, and it asks the operating system for the port number and is granted a port number 52014. So for this, okay, so now the process sent its ID 4978. Okay, you can see here the next. Okay. So the port number is 52014. So for this port number, the process ID is 4978. Okay. Okay. So the process sends the ID 4978 and the port number to the control block module to create an entry in the table. So now the module takes the first free entry and inserts the information received. Okay. The model won't allow or allocate any queue at this moment. Okay. So see here, upon receiving this 52014 port number, the process ID is assigned, but the queue number is not assigned. Okay, that's what is given in the previous slide. Okay, so for that, so what I have said. So you have seen this. So for this 52014, there is not any queue number is not assigned here. Okay. So after few seconds, the user datagram arrives for the port 52022. So the input module will again check for the control table and cannot find an entry. So see here. Okay. So this is 52022 is a new datagram arriving at the input module. So if suppose if this port number is not available, if it is not matching with the control block table, then the user datagram is going to be dropped, and the request and this dropping of this packet is going to be notified, or it is request is made to the ICMP, Internet Control Protocol, to send an unreachable port message to the source. Okay, so whenever the user datagram arrived at the input module, if it is not matching with the entry in control block table, then it is going to be, the user datagram is going to be dropped, and it will send the request to the ICMP stating that unreachable port message to the source. So this is what is explained in example 5. Okay. So let's see the connection difference between the UDP and TCP. That is TCP is connection oriented protocol, and it's unicasting. It is used for unicasting transmission of data, and it's a point to point in the sense client and server can have the connection establishment, and they can send for data between them. Okay, so whereas the UDP is connectionless protocol, and there won't be any connection establishment through the three-way handshake mechanism is also not done in the UDP, and we call that UDP is a best effort service. Okay. And coming on to the next point, TCP will be providing the reliable transmission, that is reliable end-to-end transmission, stating that no errors, that is error control is there, no bit errors due to checksum field is there. So with the help of checksum field in TCP, it will go on find out the or it detects the errors, and packet ordering also preserved. The thing is that whatever the order maintained and maintained at the source mission, that order will be maintained at the destination mission also. So packet ordering will be preserved. So whereas it's not the case in UDP. So we call that as a UDP is not reliable. It's not providing any reliable transmission. So there won't be any retransmission of data packets also in case of using the UDP. So here coming on to the TCP, there won't be any duplication of data, no packet loss, no error, okay, and packet ordering is also preserved. So TCP is always a stream oriented, that is no message boundary preservation is there. Here UDP is having the message boundary preservation, and TCP is having the flow control to maximize the throughput, and there won't be any flow control in UDP. The thing is that UDP, upon using the UDP, the sender will be go on sending the packets to the receiver. It won't stop sending it. The receiver also only receives the packet, and it won't go for acknowledging it. Okay, and congestion control is provided by TCP to minimize the packet loss, whereas there are no congestion control in case of UDP. And so where we can apply this TCP means phone, telephone communication, we can go for using the TCP. And coming on to UDP, where we can apply means for mail transfer. Okay, it's like a post office transmitting the post, that is posting the mails. Okay, so examples of application protocols using the TCP is HTTP, SMTP, FTP, Telnet. All these protocol will be using this services rendered by the TCP. Whereas in UDP, the examples of all application protocols using UDPs are SNMP, DNS, TFTP, RTP, DHCP, and SNTP. Okay, so all these application protocol will be using the UDP service. So coming on to the application that use the UDP, mainly UDP will be used for multimedia streaming. So that is you can go for watching live movies. So for that we can use the UDP protocol. So retransmission, retransmitting, no, there won't be any retransmission. So corrected packets won't be retransmitted. Okay, so we can use this for video conferencing, gaming purpose. All these we can use UDP protocol. And so wherever the application using the simple query protocols like domain name system, you can go for using the UDP protocols. There is overhead of connection establishment is not in the UDP. So okay. So what are the advantages of using UDP in the sense is it is UDP packet header is going to be have a small, very small size. It's a fixed small size packet header. Okay, so UDP header size is only 8 bytes. That is one of the big advantage of using the UDP. Whereas the TCP header is variable. It varies from 20 bytes to I think 40 to 60. I think so. So it around carries 20 bytes. Whereas UDP carries only 8 bytes. So no connection to be need to be established before the transmission of data, and moreover it has control over the when data is sent. So limitations of UDP means it provides an unreliable connection delivery service, and UDP message can be lost during the transmission or missed. It can be missed, or some duplication of data can be done while transmission, and there can be a chance of delaying the packets. That can be delayed packets received at the destination, and it can also be out of order also. That is, preserving order is not maintained at the with the use of UDP. Okay, so UDP also doesn't provide any reliable stream transport service. Okay, the advantage is that it produces minimal number of overheads in the sense minimal delays. Okay, coming on to the summary of UDP, in today's session, we have seen UDP as a connectionless protocol, and there won't be any no session establishment before the data transmission, and it won't guarantee for the data delivery at the destination point, and no data sequence is maintained. That is, order of the packets won't be maintained. Okay, won't be preserved at the destination point, and the transmission will be a faster one when compared to the TCP. And UDP provides, or it has only low overhead, since there is no connection establishment before the transmission of data, and it provides a multicasting support. Multicasting support in the sense it performs the multiplexing and demultiplexing. For what purpose means it is going to, if the client needs to process more than one number of processes, in order to handle multiple processes that run on a single host, it will be going for multiplexing. The UDP will be providing multiplexing. Okay, it supports point-to-point communication and also multi-point communications. So these are the references used for preparing the slides. Thank you for patient listening. Okay. So in today's class, we have seen UDP. In the forthcoming classes, we will be seeing the IP. That is, the lower level is internet protocol, that is which will be used at the network layer. Okay, so IPv4, IPv6.